Rich, ready to go?
Bernie, have we populated the Zoom chat?
Yep, go ahead. We are live.
Perfect.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Tonight, we have a special community briefing, Canadian Druze and Iranian Voices Against Global Persecution. I'm Dr. Aubrey Zeidenberg, a volunteer with B'nai B'rith for over 30 years, Vice President, B'nai B'rith International, and Chair of the Special Advisory Council with the League for Human Rights since 2004. B'nai B'rith is the oldest Jewish human rights organization in the world, operating since 1843, and in Canada since 1875. We're now into our 150th year. These events are part of a series done in conjunction with our League for Human Rights, which is comprised of over 35 committed liaisons from the diverse multicultural communities, the collective minorities that are the new majority, the new face of Canada. This advisory council is now in its 22nd year and brings together diverse community liaisons under the umbrella of B'nai B'rith in an unbreakable friendship as friends of the family that we choose for ourselves. For those of you who are new to our fireside chats, let me tell you about some of the impressive past Zoom guests that have given us updates and insight into issues that impact all of our lives. Our guests have included former prime ministers, former premiers, award-winning journalists, bank presidents and CEOs, leaders in the policing space, corporate executives, opposition party leaders, federal, provincial cabinet ministers, hospital CEOs, leading human rights activists that are currently battling global human rights violations around the world. As human rights abuses intensify against the Druze community in Syria and the Iranian citizens in Iran, though these struggles resonate far beyond the region, deeply affecting the diaspora communities here in Canada. The special community briefing aims to shed light on the ongoing persecution faced by these communities and explore how these injustices impact the Canadian diaspora emotionally, culturally, and politically. Tonight, we have compelling discussions prepared for you featuring two respected leaders from the Druze and Iranian communities here in Canada. Tonight, our topic, a special briefing on the Iranian threat, insights into global and Canadian security challenges. Our format this evening will be a fireside chat with our guests that will be hosted by Rich Robertson, our Director of Research and Advocacy at B'nai B'rith Canada. All guests will be muted throughout the call. Our format will be 40 minutes of live conversation, followed by a 15-minute Q&A. Questions will be sent in through and monitored by our chat feature during the entire event. Let me now introduce our special guests. Q Razvanifar is a veteran broadcaster, producer, filmmaker, and publisher committed to multicultural media and community advocacy in Canada. He serves as president of the Canadian Ethnic Media Association and founded the Iranian-Canadian Cultural Friendship. Q has produced award-winning documentaries, served on multiple boards that advise law enforcement and government agencies. His dedication to promoting cultural understanding and human rights has earned him numerous honors, including the most recent, a King Charles III Coronation Medal this year in 2025. The Honorable Jamal Sinawi is a distinguished advisor to the Supreme Druze Council and a prominent member of the Canadian Druze Society, an expert in Druze heritage and intercultural integration. Jamal is dedicated to supporting disadvantaged groups, including women, children, and minorities, and since 2002, he has contributed his expertise across both public and private sectors, including fields such as nuclear energy, renewable energy, oil and gas, security, health, and urban development. Rich, it's now over to you to moderate this wonderful event this evening. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Aubrey. Before we begin, just a quick note on housekeeping. Please send all your questions to the B'nai B'rith questions in the chat feature. Using the chat feature, we have a member of our team who has designated themselves B'nai B'rith questions. Please send all your questions directly to them. They will forward the questions to me to help expedite the process. Q, Jamal, thank you so much for joining us here tonight. I wish we were getting together for a discussion on a perhaps happier topic. However, I can't think of two better individuals to be unpacking what's going on in Iran and what's going on with the Druze community at present. So I'd like to start this by asking you each to give us a brief overview of the issues facing your respective communities, and then we'll dive into some discussion. So let's start with Jamal.
Well, thank you, Rich, and Dr. Seidenberg and the wider B'nai B'rith for this opportunity. Since the change in the regime in Syria, the recent change with the fall down of al-Assad, we have the new interim government. The Druze have been clearly under a direct attack by the current government. It's clear in the media. There's enough media coverage and footages everywhere. The attack is massive, and especially since July the 13th. What's going on is an ethnic cleansing against the Druze. It's a systematic attack led by the HTS, Julani, or today is al-Sharar, the interim president of Syria, under direct management and operation of the Syrian Ministry of Defense and Syrian Ministry of Interior, with all the different tribes and individuals under this leading this attack. They try to make it look like it's Druze versus Bedouins, like tribal, but it's not. It's a clear ethnic cleansing against the Druze community in Suwaida, South Syria. Suwaida now is a disaster area by all measures. There's no electricity, there's no water, there's no medical services. They attacked hospitals. It's a disaster. And today, because we come together, we advocate for what's right. And in Canada, we cherish the values for human rights, acceptance, and tolerance. This is something we take great pride of being Canadians. We would like to shed some light. And again, we thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to tell the world what's going on, for hopefully being able to help these decision makers do what's right. Do what's right for humans, not just for the Druze. What's going on is an attack on everything that is acceptance, tolerance, and prosperity for mankind.
Thank you, Jamal. And now we'll go over to Q. Q, could you please update us on the situation in Iran?
Well, first of all, I would like to say good evening to everybody who's basically watching this program. Also, thank to B'nai B'rith, to everybody, Aubrey, for inviting me to be in here and to somehow bring some kind of, I would say, understanding. I try to do my best to create some understanding to what is happening there. Well, we have situations both inside and outside Iran, especially due to the recent developments. It's extremely fluid, and this is the situation right now that the Iranian community and Iranians inside Iran are experiencing. We have never had a reference to it. We don't know how to deal with it. And we are going to obviously discuss this thing. All I can say, the situation in Iran is just, I can compare it to the times that France was occupied by the Nazi Germany, and the Allies were bombing France to free the French from the occupation. So you seeing that your country is being destroyed. Meantime, it's being destroyed because you have an enemy and you want to get rid of, and you can't do it by yourself. This is basically, I would say, the situation inside Iran. It's a turmoil. We have no reference how to deal with it. In one way, I cannot say we are happy, but in one say we are looking for some kind of a solution to the situation that has been happening in that part of the world, in my motherland, Iran. And we're gonna discuss and cover it. But right now, as every day things changes there. Obviously, everything has changed since the situation for past month, I should say. And nobody knows where it's going, and it's like a chess. One day it's happening, and obviously the current president in the United States is not helping either, to some degree. So it's chaos everywhere, and mostly in our part, inside Iran as well as outside Iran.
Thank you, Q. And Q, I'd like to just touch upon a little bit further some of your concerns that you have following Operation Rising Lion in regard to potential human rights abuses after the operation ceased. Is that something that you've been hearing about, or?
Well, it's not a day that goes that you don't hear a sad story. It's not a day that goes that there is not something comes out of that country inside Iran. And the sad part is that we don't know where is it going. Obviously, the control is, we don't have the control of it. The current government of Iran, it's not our government. I would say 1979, we got occupied, and it has been continuing. You're talking about human rights violation. They're the master at it. We are, among the highest, if not the first, maybe the second country in the world with the highest rate of execution per year. And these things the population of Iran has been exploded. Now we are about 85 million people. Only 11% of that population were born before 1979. So you can think of what is happening there. These children, this generation, you want to call it, they have no future in the current Iran. They are highly educated. They are and thanks to the online and also the communication, they know what is happening every part of the world. They are aware of it. They want that part of life. They want to live free. Bear in mind, Iran never has not ever invaded any country for past, I would say, maybe 1,500 or maybe 2,000 years. We were always being invaded to us, but we never invaded any country. So right now, these people want a peace of mind. They want a peace. They wanted to live, and they want to live just like everybody else. Obviously, the situation is not. They are like a pawn in the chess. A lot of people are dying. A lot of destruction, as the whole world knows. Obviously, due to the Israelis' operation, obviously the missile doesn't hit the one room; it hit the neighborhood. So there are people that they lost their entire livelihood, overnight. So in one way, that's a price they have to pay for the freedom. But we are waiting for that freedom, and it's not coming.
Thank you, Q. And Jamal, you referenced ethnic cleansing that's occurring against the Druze community. I don't want to dwell on the details too much, but I think it's important for our audience to understand just how grave the situation currently in Syria is for your community. Could you maybe expand on some of the things that you're seeing or you're hearing that are occurring on the ground?
Sure. So especially since July 13th, for the past 23 days, we have been having military attacks on Suwaida, which is a majority Druze minority in southern Syria. So they tell the world that it is the Ministry of Defense, Syrian Ministry of Defense, and Syrian National Security, they call it, want to come and take over, according to some regional agreements, they say. But what has been happening on the ground is they invited all these Bedouin tribes from all over Syria. Even people were invited from Saudi Arabia, from neighboring Jordan, from Iraq. We have seen videos of tribes coming to help their Bedouin tribes in Syria, attacking the Druze. And why? This is because the Druze want their unique identity to be recognized in this new Syria. We're not asking for so much. We're asking for living in peace and being recognized by our own identity and by just like any other country in the world. And this is the promise that the new regime in Syria has made to the world. And the problem we have is, and I'd borrow this a statement by Sebastian Gorka, Senior Director of Counterterrorism in the US. He says, and he's an expert on jihadists, and he says, I've never seen a jihadi leader becoming a Democrat when they win. So Mr. Giuliani won in Syria. They took over. And they started with the Alawites beginning of the year in Tartus and Latakia. I'm sure you have seen the media of the atrocities, ethnic cleansing. It has no other name. And then you have these foreign fighters from Tajikistan, Turkestan. We have a lot of proofs of, because some of these were captured in the Druze area. We send these to whoever it may concern, and it's clear evidence of having foreign fighters coming to fight on Syrian land in the name of the government. Once they meet the Druze, they ask, are you a Druze or a Sunni? If they respond they are a Druze, they get killed, shot immediately, and in many cases slaughtered. And again, we shared much of the proofs. And the tragedy is some of the Arab media, and namely Al Jazeera, Arabia, they're going and supporting this effort by Giuliani and the regime and covering up for the atrocities. I mean, politics and interest is something, but changing the reality into making it look as a governance effort. It is a shame. This is what it is. And let me be frank and really clear about this. Without IDF, the Israeli Defense Forces, intervening and stopping this massacre against the Druze in Sweda, there has been already a clear and a full massacre of over 500,000 Druze, 600,000 Druze in Sweda. This is I'm confirming from the ground, from what has been happening. When the IDF and the air forces banned some of these attackers, barbaric attackers, that helped a little bit cooling down the field and allowing for the international community to hopefully intervening in a positive way, especially in the United States, which we thank the better understanding now of what's going on, and hopefully that it will be stopped, and hopefully Canada will come back to the peacekeeper image that we've always enjoyed. I mean, Canada has been always like Switzerland of the world. We're not seeing Canada commenting on this.
And Jamal, we will get to that, and we will touch on Canada more, because I think that Canada plays an important role on this. And thank you so much for sharing with us the truth of what's happening on the ground in Sweda. And it's a shame whenever media or anyone tries to cover up atrocities and denies the pain and suffering that people are feeling. But I want to turn back to Q for a second. So Q, you spoke about the desire for peace amongst the Iranian people and the desire for freedom. Has internal resistance against the regime grown recently in light of Operation Lion? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, the resistance against the government, Islamic Republic, was there. And it has been numerous, but never got the international attention. Why? Because of I think, I'll take you back to before 1979. The only issue in that time in the Middle East was the issues between the Israel and the Arab countries, which was resolved by the Begin and Minister Begin and also Ambassador. Prior to that, there was nothing. After 1979, everything started. So the whole situation became volatile, and we see what is happening up to now. The resistance against the Iranian government by the people, the uprising, the demonstrations, everything has always been there for past, I would say, 40 years. But the international community decided to look the other way. So it's the same, but this time it got attention. But what? It's too late, because we need support. Youth has been coming to the streets. They have fought They get slaughtered. They've been hanged. They've been thrown out of the tall buildings. Everything that you can imagine has happened to them. Everything that you can imagine. Before 1979, the European countries were asking, all of a sudden, they become curious why there is no human right in Iran. And that basically caused the situation in Iran, which there was an excuse. Right now, where are they now? Where are they now? How come nobody's talking about the human right anywhere? It's just forgotten point. So the resistance there, right now they are in more shock. They are in more shock. They don't know what to do with it. And I wanted to tell you, the government, the Islamic Republic, would take the revenge of what is happening on its own people. Has it done it before? So this is basically what everybody, they keep executing right now, daily, you know. So the point is that one, the resistance are always there. They've never been recognized. They were, in fact, they turned their face back. We were, in fact, there was a time during Obama that the CIA made a report that with a little bit push, this government would collapse. And we know that time on Obama said no, because in that time, Obama was negotiating with the Islamic Republic, and we know what happens after that. So the point is that resistance is there. They always will be there, because we want to get back our home back, and it always will be there.
Thank you, Q. And both of you have touched on the need for international attention and international intervention. So that's something that we'll get to in a little bit. But I want to bring it back home to Canada for a moment. And Jamal, you're a representative of the diaspora community, the Druze community here in Canada. You painted a very stark picture for us for the reality on the ground right now in Soweto. How is that impacting Canada's Druze community?
Let me speak for myself and for many others. The majority of the Druze in Canada here, we have close to 50,000 Druze in Canada, mainly in Montreal, Toronto, and Alberta, Edmonton. So for the past 23 days, I've been going through videos, text messages of the atrocities and the horrific situation going on the ground south of Syria and Soweto. They send me pictures of people being slaughtered. This relative have been kidnapped or killed. This 5 years old. Today I get one of my niece's daughters, 5 years old, was kidnapped by these HTS jihadists. They killed the mom, they killed the dad, they killed the grandfather, and they raped the 5 years old and the aunt and the grandmother. It's unbelievable. These are confirmed, verifiable videos and information. We have so much evidence we can show. So for me as a Canadian, going through this for the past 23 days, and excuse me, I hope the audience excuses my even a little bit of frustration.
You have every right to be frustrated, Jamal, and I'm so sorry to hear about your family, and thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah, so 50,000 Canadians of Druze ethnicity in here, minority. They are active members of the Canadian society. We have members in government. We have members of parliament. We have people, head divisions of National Research Council. We're contributing to this country, and we're giving back, basically. Canada is a great place. We all give back. I've given back myself a lot. During my time in the UAE, being here, we helped rebuilding the UAE Canadian relationships with Ambassador Lalani, Ambassador Masood after, helping bringing delegations in here, a lot of business. We contribute, we give back. Druze culture is about giving back. Is about feeding the guests, is about being active and productive member of the society. So does that affect us emotionally? I mean, myself, and I know a lot of people that have had maybe 2-3 hours of sleep a day in 24 hours, especially the first 8 days. It was horrific. We couldn't even believe what has been going on. I mean, and for what? What did we do? What did the Druze do? So absolutely. And talking about culture, Rich, I spent some of my profession teaching organizations and people about leadership, building leadership model. To build leadership, you need to build the culture in an organization. And culture is about what we repeatedly do. It's the mottos, it's the examples, it is the pictures, the stories. What is the story in Syria today? What is the story of an ex-Al-Qaeda jihadist who has a top terrorist recognized even today by the Security Council? They haven't removed it. So you bring that person and make him a president of Syria. What is the message to over 1 billion Sunni Muslims in the world? Are you telling them that to become a president, you need to be a jihadist? I mean, there is pros and cons to everything, and I understand the dynamics. But we reached a level that is horrific. What culture are we instilling in the world, including in Canada here? What are you telling these jihadi idealists in Canada? And the other day I hear Montreal especially is becoming a nexus for these. What is the message? Does Canada need to intervene for the national security of Canada and of the civil world? That is a question to
And we will unpack that question, Jamal. And I thank you so much for sharing the impact that this has had on your community. And I commend you for your courage and your fortitude and for continuing to speak out on behalf of your people. Q, I want to go to you. I know that you're a proud member of the Persian community here in Canada, the Iranian diaspora. It's been a tough several months for your people as well. How has that impacted you and the rest of the diaspora community here in Canada?
Well, before I answer that, I also would like to follow Jamal saying that whatever I'm expressing here, since I'm not the elected official of my community, this is all my own personal views and whatever I know. So I would like to share with you.
Of
Well,
course.
as I mentioned earlier, it's the situation in the Iranian community in Canada, and not only in Canada, even in a big population of Iranians live in Los Angeles, mostly Beverly Hills, as we all know. That basically created a kind of a division among them. First of all, we want the country to go back where it was, prosper, everything else, but at what price? And bear in mind, nobody likes their own country being invaded by another country. Nobody likes that. So we know that. So this is what's happening in Iran. So we want the freedom, but not at the destruction of our infrastructure. In one way, they're happy. In one way, they are not. So there is a 3 or 4 school of thought going between the community. So there is not even one part that everybody's agreed upon. So there are a lot of people. In fact, few of my friends lost brothers and sisters during this bombing, and they were just obviously regular people, living, and happened that the missile hit their home or whatever, and they died. So these are not. It's not as I mentioned earlier. It's not this era is something that we don't know how to deal with it. All we know that we are losing a lot. We are losing lives. We are losing our homeland. We're losing everything. The sad part, one of the saddest part was, I saw it was from the Israelis plane, and they were hitting F-14s on the runways. And my own cousin was a fighter of F-14, and he disappeared in the World War between the Iran and Iraq war. And it was sad for me because he came to the United States to train on that plane. And now I'm seeing that the cream de la creme of the Iranian Air Force is being destroyed. But at the same time, in one way, we feel that it's not ours. In one way, it is ours. So it's not certain emotion that you can say, well, because it's not, it's a mix. It's a full of emotions, full of everything that you can think of, So as I said, it's kind of we are in daze, and again, it happened. They are thinking that it's going to happen again, and it's coming. And as I said, it's like we don't know what the future is going to bring for us, what tomorrow is going to be. And the impact of the incident was so high that we still need time to digest it, both physically and emotionally. So again, in Canada, it's a lot of mixed feelings, is what I have to say. It's a lot of mixed feelings.
Thank you, Q. And both of you have made clear that the current situation for your respective communities is not sustainable and that more needs to be done. We'll start with you, Q. What would you like to see from the international community? What would you like to see from Canada?
I separate Canada from international community.
And feel free to answer in two parts, of course.
Yeah. First, the international community, as I mentioned, European countries, they are looking for, they want to make sure that their economical situation, their trade is not touched with the government. I'm going to be brave enough to say countries such as Germany, companies such as France, Italy, they just don't want, they don't care about human rights as long as they can have those contracts signed and sealed and is ready to go, or it is already continuing it. And this has been going on for years, if decades, I should say. And yes, that's from the international community, which we are extremely disappointed and hurt. And one day soon, when everything's over, those international countries or international governments or countries, they have to sit down and talk with the new people. In Canada has been a different story. I love Canada, it's my home. I'm passionate about it. But it seems in our case, it's been extremely slow in responding, especially the last Liberal government. We've been talking, we've been screaming, we're having demonstrations, we've been writing letters, we've been contacting our MPs, we have done everything. At the end of it, nothing. Remember 2020, in January 2020, when the IRGC shut down the airplane, Ukrainian airplane, and also killed everybody, which were all 90% Canadians. Since then, we were screaming at the government, please put the IRGC on the list. They didn't. They played everything they wanted. They danced, they talked, they said everything. But when it comes to action, absolutely none. Absolutely none. They put everything, I remember even Mr. Trudeau coming to our events and promising, crying with the people, feeling sad and everything. But at the end of it, nothing. Absolutely nothing. Still nothing. So right now, Canada has a bigger issue with the south of the border. So our situation is not on the level. It's there. And nothing has happened. We have a gentleman, and he's our MP, Iranian MP in a parliament. He's doing his best. But, and so far, we haven't seen anything, except just the word. In regarding to everything we ask, Canada is just sitting back. And I think, come back to Jamal, maybe they should go back and do the peacekeeping forces. They are good at that one. At least make sure that they can keep the peace in the different countries, you know. But so far, nothing. They haven't done anything. And I honestly don't expect, because we've been disappointed long enough.
And Q, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I feel we need to terse this out a little bit more. Do you feel betrayed by Canada as a member of the Iranian diaspora?
I don't want to use betrayed. Disappointed is most. Because I cannot, this is my home. My parents cannot betray me, but they can disappoint me. Let me compare it to that, okay? But I know, the last government disappointed us a lot, beyond our imagination. Let me put it this way. To tell you how much, prior to that, most of the Iranians were pro-liberal party. They become conservative, thanks to that last government.
Well, thank you for that, and I think that that's well put. Disappointed, Q. Jamal, I'm going to pose the same question to you. Dire situation for your people. What do you want to see from the international community? What do you want to see from Canada?
I mean, I can reiterate what Q said. Well, for the international community, I mean, the United Nations is clear about its objectives, and it's just apply it. All these meetings and reports, and I mean, in Syria itself, this transitional stage should have happened long time back. And there is a UN Security Council resolution for it. Nothing. I think it's a question to the whole civil world. What culture are you sending by being silent? Culture is what we repeatedly do, what we allow to happen. If you want to see this on European streets even more, If you want to see on American streets, on Canadian streets, just stay silent. And this is something about, this is not about freedom of speech, what's happening on Canadian streets. And when you allow jihadists to raise flags in downtown Montreal, this is a no-no. I don't want to see my kids raised in this kind of culture. I'm a proud Canadian, and I give back all the time as much as I can, just like any responsible Canadian who's proud to be. It's a great country. But as Q said, for the past good 7 to 10 years, we've been losing this reputation. I experienced it hands-on when I was in the UAE, in the Gulf countries. People don't respect us as they used to. We're taking the wrong sides. I mean, where's the Swiss model in Canadian politics? It's not there anymore. When you're in the middle, when you moderate, this is strength, this is power. And out of knowledge, it's not silence out of ignorance. Canadians are highly regarded around the world to be the mediators, the peacekeepers, the great thinkers. In many of my work, Attorney General was always Canadian. They help systems being built and bringing people together. We hope to see better Canadian response to the Druze atrocity that is going on in Soweto now. And again, let me thank the State of Israel. Please allow me to do that. Without the IDF, without the Israeli Air Force, the Druze would have been annihilated in South Syria. And stop telling Israel to stop that. This is my honest sentiment about what has been going on. And I hope this stops. And allow this little minority of close to 2 million all over the world just to live in peace.
Well, Jamal, you've almost had me for a loss of words. I pray that that the Druze community will continue to live in peace. And I want you to know that you have an ally in B'nai B'rith Canada, and you have an ally in the Jewish community here in Canada. Jamal, I think it was you who was talking about narrative before. And in our digital world, narrative oftentimes is run through the media. So there's been a lot of media coverage on Syria. There's been a lot of media coverage on Iran. So I'm going to start with you, Q. How has the media coverage, in your opinion, impacted what's transpiring in Iran?
Well, it goes back again since revolution of occupation of 1979. Iran has been from time to time more than ever in the media, especially in the Western media. So it depends who's covering what. I was, in fact, watching the news from Al Jazeera. Now, that's very interesting. So I get that perspective. Then I look at the other one. So, oh, this is good. As a person in the media, which is psychology is our tool of basically producing. I was saying where they're going with this and how each one of them would impact an angle. So you cannot really resort to one part, say, okay, this is it, because you have to see this. But unfortunately, some of the people resort to one school of thought or views. First thing, I think a long time ago, maybe 10, 15, maybe 20 years ago, thanks to international media, they find out there is a difference between Iranian government and Iranian people. These two are separate. They know that. And from that time, they basically separate them and they deal them differently because they are different. They're totally different. So in some way you can say they educate the entire globe that these two are different. They are not following them. Second one is that right now, it goes back who's covering what. Right now, because of censorship in Iran, especially during that time, so you're not really getting that much information out. The only information you get is from your citizen reporters with the phone and the camera, and also the platform and networks that they have in outside Iran. And most of our information comes from that, from the citizen reporters, I should say. The videos comes, the explosions happening, this happening, that happening. But then through that, you have to be very careful because some of them are not true, especially with the AI coming now. I don't know what we're going to have a problem, which is true and which is not. So it has basically conversation is with the families are getting information out as much as they can, because whatever happens, when something happens in Iran, the first thing the Iranian government is that to cut the Wi-Fi, to cut the entire internet system. So you're cut. You basically cannot get. But then again, the Iranian people are expert on that one. You close one door, they open another window. You close that one, they open another door. So it's a cat and mouse type of thing. But information gets out. It is a pure information, but it's again from that person being in that place and that time. But whatever you get is from that. So you have to look at from other point, and then you get the truth by yourself. Western media are very general. Right now, things happening in Iran. We are not there. In the situation in Iran, none of them, we don't hear the CNN or major ones. Because again, it's their benefit and also their profit to look the other way. They have done these things so many other times. So we are used to it. Sad enough, yes, but we are used to it.
You mentioned the internet cutoffs, and you mentioned some of the censorship. Is it your opinion that the regime censorship is failing?
It's not failing. They do it, but first time maybe it took a long time for the Iranian. Again, bear in mind, as I said, the oldest one is 46 years old. Only 11% is before revolution, and these people they were born with internet in their DNA, so you cannot separate them. You cut one part, they do another one. So they're highly educated. They're highly tech savvy. They highly know what's going on, and they are better than me and you in this world. So because they were in that environment, they know what to do with it. And that's why. So whatever Iranian government said, it's a matter of time. They would crash it. So anyway, but then again, it's the challenges. There are so many things that's happening. So anyway, that's the first thing that they do. Whatever happens in Iran, the first thing Iranian government does, cut the internet. So, but then again, they survive.
The resiliency is truly amazing. And Jamal, I want to go to you with a similar question. You touched on the media earlier. How has reporting on the current ethnic cleansing, the current humanitarian catastrophe, how has that impacted your community's ability to respond to it?
Let me say there is much silence. We appreciate some of the coverage by channels, especially in the US, like CBN and Fox News sometimes, that we really appreciate because they show the reality. I'll be frank and honest. But it was tiny and limited. But this is better than what the Arabic media, especially Al Jazeera and Arabiya. It's not only covering up, it's creating stuff to cover up. I mean, we all understand. They say management is equality is a management problem. Yeah. So these media are managed somehow. I hope that the decision maker really fixes that issue, because this is a moral issue. This is ethnic cleansing happening right now. They cut it, as Q said, they cut electricity, they cut internet, they cut power. And you have 600,000 people being surrounded, siege, they are under siege. And when you get humanitarian aid, they block it. Even the humanitarian aid sent from the diaspora, it's not sent by the Syrian regime or international. It's the diaspora sending humanitarian aid. They block it. And what is the coverage? The coverage is totally wrong, and they make it look like we're blocking it so it doesn't come in. So we ask for I mean, I hope that the media covers better. And again, the civil world has to understand that this is not just an ethnic cleansing, an attack on a peaceful minority. This is an attack on the whole civil world. It's not politics.
I think that's well said, Jamal. And I think that we need our media to present things factually so that the whole world can be apprised of what's occurring. And also, I think as both of you have touched on, right? In both instances, you've talked about relying on those who are on the ground to get the factual information out. And I hope that we can continue to give them the opportunity to do so, so that the Druze community, the Iranian community are not cut off, because silence kills. I think that's been a theme throughout tonight's discussion as well. Q, I want to go back to you for to talk maybe a little bit about any concerns that you have with the IRGC in the regime, perhaps infiltrating here in Canada. There was a lot of discussion on that in our media over the last couple of months. Is that something that concerns you, and what can we do to fight that?
Well, in fact, it's a good question, because a commission in Canada, I believe in late last year, they find that such a thing exists, and the foreign government can manipulate the media in Canada. And as Aubrey mentioned, I'm also president of the Canadian Ethnic Media Association, so I was interviewed by CBC about this. Yes, it's true. It's happening. It can happen. And the opposition, I mean, the infiltration, yes, it is here. We have been talking about it. The Iranian community activists and so some leaders, they talk to the Canadian government. Canadian government is extremely aware of that, and that there are a lot of them in here. They come here for the regular Iranian to come to Canada. It's easier for them to climb the Mount Everest than to come to Canada. But some of these people come with the family, and I don't want to say it, but I have no choice to say it. Money talks, I believe, you know, and there are investments here. There are a lot of monies here, and that money somehow makes a lot of faces look the other way. And this is the situation that the Iranian community is dealing with here. There have been demonstrations in it. Again, they've been talking to the MPs, MPPs, whoever you can, they get their hands on it. And they are here more than ever. As a matter of fact, Canada, especially Toronto and Vancouver, is the hotspot for these people. They like this weather, I believe. So they come straight in here. Some years ago, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, there's a video of former chief of police of Tehran having exercise in one of the health clubs in north of Richmond Hill. And so how the heck he got in here, knowing that he is a chief of police, former, how could he be here? How would the officers, I'd like to be in that interview, and how would the officers issue visa to that person? And I can imagine there have been, if not thousands, or maybe there are thousands of those visas, those type of visas have been issued. They are here. They are, yeah, and there are organizations, at least I know 1 or 2 Iranian organizations that they were trying to identify these people and report them to the Canadian government, and they did maybe, but so far, to the best of my knowledge, maybe less than 10 people were deported. You know, there are lots of files are being reviewed, but I don't think even 10 people got even deported, not even that, for past 5, 6, 7, 8 years, you know. So yeah, we have that issue in here. In fact, we are very concerned about it, extremely concerned about it, because we left that country to come in here to live in peace, away from that.
And as a Canadian, how does it make you feel knowing that members of the regime, members of the IRGC have been able to emigrate to Canada?
What we think we would feel? Frustrated, disappointed.
There's that word again.
Yeah, exactly. You can use any kind of word for that one, because in fact, it's kind of interesting. They changed Iran to their likings. To their likings. This is what they wanted to have, the Iran. So now they're here. If you like that place, why don't you stay there? So you don't like whatever you did here, so now you're coming in here. We are here because we don't like what you did. So my part is that there is a, I would say, if not daily, weekly issues with the current, with our police forces, saying that at the traffic lights, those people, and also Iranians who live here, they see each other at the red light, so they start going back and forth, and create a situation that, there's filing police and everything else, complaints. So anyway, and they have the right, because they're frustrated. Bear in mind, a lot of these people who live here, they lost families. They've got families executed, they died, or everything else. So when they come here and they see these people are here, I mean, you can imagine how they would feel. Or how
disappointed.
There should be another word for it, you know. You've been very diplomatic about it, you know, but it's more than disappointing. It's like you feel hurt, you know, because you thought this government, Canada knew how you feel and take you under their wings and protect you. It's like you go to somebody's home and you're seeking refuge, and also the guy said, "Come on in, I'll take care of you." And the guy who's basically chasing you, "Come, you too, come in here." What type of security you feel in that place?
I like the word betrayal as well, but I understand that you're more diplomatic than I am at times, Q. So Jamal, we have a question from the audience. Could you explain a little bit about the shared history and culture between the Druze and Jewish people?
Well, absolutely. So we are our direct descendants are Benjamin, Naphtali, Gad, and Menachem, Judah. So these are the sons of Jacob, and you know Jacob is Israel. Even our DNA, the analysis has showed how close we are to our Jewish brothers and sisters. Nabi Shuaib, or Yethron in the Bible, is our top master. As a sheikh, as a Druze practitioner for a long time, I'm telling you the secrets of the doctrine. Okay, so we are very close, and let me say that it is clear in Israel. We serve in the IDF proudly, not out of political necessarily motivations. It's the country, it's the land. We defend the land. We protect our brothers and sisters and our neighbors, be it Jewish, be it Christian, be it moderate Muslim. I have a lot of moderate Muslims friends, dear friends in the UAE. Half of my family was born in Abu Dhabi. We have no issue. We were waiting for an example like the UAE in Syria. And all of a sudden we get a jihadist interim government that is doing ethnic cleansing. So absolutely, in the state of Israel, let me be clear, this is one of the very few places on earth where the Druze can be who they are. And we really appreciate that. And today, we're grateful that we have the state of Israel who's giving a little bit of a support, the minimum support needed to keep this minority from being cleansed, just because of some jihadists think this is the right thing to do. So absolutely, and when it comes to, I mean, if you go to Dr. Zaidenberg touched a little bit on visiting Druze areas in Israel, in the Galilee, I mean, I have friends that serve in the IDF, Jewish friends who their family tell them that if you're coming back from service and you're late and you're close to a Druze town, just knock any door, go inside, sleep, have food, and be sure that you'll be safe there. This is who we are, and this is what we take great pride of. This is not politics. This is being who we are, and again, it's so sad that we're facing this ethnic cleansing by all what it means, just because we want to be who we are.
Well, Jamal, once again, my heart breaks for you and for your community, and I thank you so much for educating us on the shared cultural history, origins of your people, the Druze people and the Jewish people. I am conscious of time, so I'm going to ask you each one concluding question. And you've shared so much with us. You've helped us as an audience better understand the realities facing your respective communities. So I want to leave on a note of what can we do for you? How can the audience support your respective communities? Q, we'll start with you and then we'll go to Jamal.
A very good question. I think Iranian community, a big part of it has been always supportive Jewish community. Bear in mind, 20 or 25 years ago, Cyrus the Great, the founder of Iran, freed the Jews from the slavery from Babylon. And he's also is the only Gentile in Torah. So our relationship with the Jewish community, it's been established then. It was a little bit, and it's been good up to recent, and it's not even Iranian community, it's not Iranian nation, it's this government. We don't separate us from the Jewish community. Jewish community is a part of Iranian population. So you guys were never, we never felt separate from you or divided or far from you guys. So the whole idea is that whenever the Jewish community needed us, we were there. And right now, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I think the more collaboration, the more cooperation, the more understanding the goals that we all want peace. We all want peace. And I want to tell you, as a person who lives in this era, I'm ashamed because I would think that by this time, that when we find most of the cure to all type of disease, we haven't find a solution and cure for barbarism, for being so crazy and so, barbaric is the word. We haven't find that. We thought by this time we would be such a civilized, we call ourselves civilized human beings, but we are not. We are more barbaric than when we were in the caves, because then we didn't have the facility and the tools to be civilized. Right now we have everything and we are more barbaric than then. So this is, whatever we can understand each other, that again, we all want peace, we all want to live, we want to be kind, and we wanted to be kind to each other. I don't see anybody says opposite. So the more understanding between the community, the more knowing about each other and knowing the mandate is peace and welfare of well-being for human being. That's it. And whatever comes, whatever it can be some kind of a natural catastrophe, we are there. It's kind of something else, we are there. So it doesn't need to be just political issues. It can be everything else. Just peace and welfare and just live in peace and harmony. That's it.
I'm going to say amen. And Q, I hope that this dialogue can start to build some additional bridges between our communities. And so we can continue to stand in solidarity and to support each other. Jamal, I'm going to turn it over to you to answer our last question. What can we do to support the Druze community? How can we support the Druze right now as Canadians and as a Jewish community?
Well, I think a lot of that has to do with spreading the right message. In real estate, they say location, location, location. But in man world, I say education, education, education. Ignorance is our worst enemy. All of us, whether you're left or right, whether you're in Canada here or down in Israel, this is not the time to discuss who's left, who's right, who's prime minister, who's not. This is the time about recognizing that they are creating another Gaza in Sueda, and you know who I'm talking about. This is information, solid information, proved on the ground. This is not theory. This is the message. And believe your enemy when they say something. When they say they want to move from Sueda to Jerusalem, you have to believe them. And do not allow jihadists to exploit Western systems here in Canada and around the world. We're all for free speech, but not for endangering the very values we stand for: acceptance, tolerance, and safety. Without security, nothing has any meaning, and I felt it. I was down in Sueda 20 days ago. It was horrific. I was watching the airplanes, Israeli airplanes going down to Iran, and all these drones coming from Iran and these missiles. Some of them were intercepted on top of our heads. It's real. It's real. This is not Hollywood. It's a reality. And we have to stand for what's right. This is not it's not the time about bipartisan.
Thank you, Jamal. And I want to thank you, Jamal, and I want to thank you, Q, for joining us tonight and for sharing your reality with us and for the courage that both of you show on a daily basis to stand up for your communities. And from the bottom of my heart, I want you both to know that you have an ally in B'nai B'rith Canada and that you have allies in the Jewish community. And we're here, and I hope that this discussion just serves as the beginning of more collaboration, because the problems that we discussed tonight that we've only just scratched the surface of are far bigger than one man can handle. So I hope, and it will be a privilege for me and my organization to continue to fight those problems with you. Aubrey, over to you.
Thank you very much, Rich. What a wonderful evening this has been. I'd like to thank both of you gentlemen for a very informative, enlightening, sincere, and detailed Zoom and YouTube chat. Your unprecedented work and discussion of facts and truth is appreciated by all who have come to Canada for a better life for their children, grandchildren, and future generation. Our most sincere thanks. And a special thank you to all of tonight's attendees from right across Canada, coast to coast. As we continue our fireside chats and YouTube events, we will continue to keep you informed of the dates and our upcoming special guests. The fireside chat with RCMP Assistant Commissioner Matt Peggs had to be postponed earlier this month, but we are in the process of rescheduling it, and we will inform you of the dates ASAP. I'd like to thank you for joining us this evening, and let's all pray for light to overpower darkness during these difficult times, and I wish you and yours a very enjoyable and safe summer. See you at our next fireside chat